questions.
Well, how do you feel today on that day of August?
I get terrified driving this car because it's a piece of dog shit, and it feels like I'm driving one of those little kids' go-karts that you put your feet through to move it like a Flintstones car. This is the first night of actual shows, of paid shows, since the tour started. How long have we, when did we leave? Was it 10 days ago?
It was, yeah.
So we have 2 tonight, but it's a 20-minute drive from our house to the first one, and then a 20-minute drive from this club to the next. And I had to move around so that I can open for this slot. We're running kind of late. And then I will have to sprint to this next one. So it's going to be really close. And I assumed once you started doing comedy outside of New York, you'd be able to make it to gigs on time. But somehow, even though I'm not running from train station to train station, I am still panicked for time, and I'll be running like probably 3 minutes of material that's either new or just tested at a mic this week. Californians don't like being made fun of like other people do, so I don't think I'll have a good opener.
If you were to make fun of Californians, what would be your go-to first pick?
You.
The key to growth as a new comic is getting your reps in at open mics. In places like New York City, you have dozens to choose from every day. But in towns like San Luis Obispo, you might only have a few a week.
You were talking about how identifiers when you get murdered, right? I'm terrified that they're gonna be like, he looks like a shriveled tiny dick lesbian with bad tattoos. That's my fear. And my bigger fear is that immediately one cop's gonna be like, case closed.
Local comedians Nick Malizia and Kelsey Ray produce mics and shows weekly to help grow the scene.
Yeah.
Is it Friday?
Saturday's your other one.
Dear God. Hi guys, how's it going? This is awesome. I love it. Here, doing things, saying things. I don't know what's happening. This is what's happening. I want to do new jokes, but then I was like, I don't know. I've been seeing people, and I was like, is there one did Dennison? He did really good. I was like, I really shouldn't do new material. I'm not feeling confident about myself. But bright side is I now know who to hit up to make me feel bad about my penis later. And so I was like, okay, we can just push through the new jokes. I think that's what's going to happen. So,
I got you.
Thank you, my goddess. Which weirdly isn't the first time I've said that, so I don't know what that's about.
So you're doing 30 this week.
I'm doing 30 this week, yes.
How many times have you done 30?
I've done it about like 6-7 times or so.
Okay. And always in San Luis Obispo or San Francisco?
Always in San Luis Obispo.
Is this where you're from?
Yes.
And how long have you been doing comedy?
I've been in comedy since 2014, so whatever.
That's a long time. That's 9 years.
It's a long time, yeah.
And you've primarily done it in SLO and then the Bay.
In the Bay, LA, San Diego, Santa Barbara, mostly in California.
So obviously when people think comedy, it's New York, it's LA, and now it's kind of Austin.
Right.
You've been doing this for 9 years, and you've made a nice career for yourself in this area.
Yeah.
What is about that San Luis Obispo area that you think is unique to comedy? I mean, if you did it 9 years ago, I can't imagine the scene was big.
Right. Yeah. No, it was quite small when I started out. It was like a real tight knit group, which I really liked. Everyone just always supporting each other and everything. It's just nice here because a lot of the people that come out to shows really want to support local comedy. They love having a good out-of-towner that's like a headliner or a feature and stuff. They love to see, people who are touring and everything, but it's really cool to see that a lot of people come out to the shows because they want to support locals. Mm-hmm. And so it's just great. You get some really good feedback and comments after the show. And it's just a nice little microcosm of a little place we got going on here.
Why'd you get into comedy?
I always loved comedy. I loved movies and television shows when I was younger. I tried improv. and that was fun, but I didn't like working with a group really.
Yep.
And then and just too much relying on other people. But then with stand-up comedy, it was like, oh, that's just all me. So yeah, I'm gonna try it out. And then good and bad, I did really well my first time. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna keep doing this.
Do you remember your worst horror story in comedy?
Worst horror story would probably be, I got booked for a show in Santa Maria on Halloween, and I was told to do 10 minutes and that there would be a costume contest. And then I got there and they told me that I was going to do 2 15-minute sets. I'd been doing comedy for about like 4 months, and then I would need to judge the costume contest, and the people that were in the contest were children. And so then I had to do that. First set did not go well, and then I judged the costume contest, broke some hearts that day. But then afterward, I got really bonded with the kids. They listened to my second set, and then I said a joke, and a kid said, "That's the funniest joke I've ever heard. You're the funniest person I've ever seen in my life." And I go, "Thanks, man." And then I said another joke that wasn't good, and he goes, "That wasn't a funny joke. You should tell more jokes that are funny." And that child haunts my dreams every night.
Are you going to keep doing comedy in California forever, you think?
No, I want to get on the road. I want to go out and see, if the jokes that I have work on a wider scale. And I just want to travel. I love traveling in general, and just combining those two loves of traveling and comedy would just be like a dream come true.
What are your expectations for the show? Do you have any material you're a little nervous about doing, newer stuff?
Yeah, so I'm excited. I've done that room a few times, and it can be really fun. But I've also had some times where it can be quite mellow. So it's a lot of what the comedian can bring onto stage and get the room going and everything. I'm definitely going to try some new material, and I just want to I just hope to kind of make a connection and just have people feel like they spent their Friday night in the right way of going to see comedy. Yeah.
What's your opinion on Palestine and Israel?
I don't know how to spell either of those, so
Nice.
I'm going to say no comment.
Found it. Awesome. What is your opinion on Israel and Palestine?
They're both places.
Dope. Nice job.
Thank you.
That was a great interview. Anyways,
However, unfortunately, I am attracted to men. And men are fucking weirdos. Okay, men are so weird. We can all agree. And yet I want one to love me so badly. And I'm not even looking for a deep, passionate, meaningful love. All I really want is for a man to look at me the way he looks at a Swiss Army knife. That's really all I'm looking for. I don't even remember the last time that a man offered to buy me a drink or buy me dinner. But a couple days ago, I had a string hanging from my sweater, and just 6 dudes came out of nowhere I got you, babe. Men love that shit. Men love any kind of multi-purpose, multi-use tool. Have you guys ever heard a man talk about a multi-use flashlight? He's it's a flashlight, but it's also a screwdriver, and it's also a bottle opener, and it's also the reason my wife left me. That's what's going on.
just kidding, guys. So have you been doing comedy in SLO your whole life? Is that where you started?
Yeah, this is where I started. I started about 4 years ago, I think. So yeah.
You're 4.
Yeah.
So now are you starting to get out? Do you do San Francisco or the Bay or Central?
Yeah, I actually just did. I competed in Rooster T. Feathers comedy competition.
That's
I
cool.
placed 3rd in that one. So that was out in the Bay Area. I've been out to LA once, but I haven't been down there too much. So yeah, trying to travel. I go to Bakersfield a lot. So.
Bakersfield. That's what's the club in Bakersfield?
The Well.
That's right.
That's their comedy show out there. Yeah.
How is that?
It's fun. It's a nice room. I think that I really like the audience there. They're very invested, so it's super cool.
So you host this mic. I met you last week. You're hosting another mic.
Yeah.
How many mics do you host a week?
So Slow Cider just switched to every single week, so I have that one, and then this one I do every 3rd Thursday.
Okay.
So this is an alternating mic.
And when we travel, we found that a lot of smaller areas blew up after COVID in comedy. You've been doing this for 4 years.
Yeah.
How many mics were there then compared to now?
I want to say, so before COVID, I hadn't even been doing it that long, so I would say there was, that I knew of in the area, maybe 2 mics, and now there's a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, 20 minutes away, a Thursday, so there's a lot now, yeah, double what there was before COVID.
And you're producing shows here too, so you're getting headliners from out of the state?
Yeah, so we're not out of the state. Well, I guess technically out of the state. We just have so not tomorrow, but the Wednesday after. We have Liz Melee coming.
She's great.
Who's an East Coast comic.
Yep.
Yeah. So we have her headlining a show out here. We just got Leah Bonema just did a couple shows for us. Jasmine Ellis. So yeah, we're trying to get bigger names to come out and see this area. It's the perfect pit stop between LA and San Francisco, so we're kind of just trying to utilize that to bring like awareness to the scene. So yeah.
And what do you think the crowds have been like here?
Oh, the crowds are so good. There's people that are religiously come to comedy shows. This is their passion. That's their date night. They love coming out to see comedy, and so there's people that come out and see this very regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So why did you get into comedy in the first place?
I had no interest in it. I've been told like my whole life that I was funny, and then someone randomly told me like, well, you should try doing an open mic, and I was like, well, I think you could be funny and not be a good stand-up comedian. And then I went to a comedy show just to see it, just to see an open mic, and randomly it was actually Aiden, who was the last person up tonight.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, it's a light night, so we're just gonna have you go up, is that fine? And I was like, yep. And then ever since then I've been addicted to it. So
How'd you do the first night?
I did really well.
Yeah.
But I started when I was 26, so I had like years of jokes in my back pocket that I knew would have worked. So I kind of had like an arsenal, and then later figured out how to like really write and figured out like my groove and my style. So yeah.
So what's your end goal? Do you think you'll be in SLO for a long time, Central Valley producing? Do you think you're going to leave?
Yeah, I think the only thing that would really make me want to leave is if I got a job offer doing comedy in some way somewhere else. But like, I think of how quickly I've grown being here. It's such a small scene with a lot of talent. So the people that really try and come out a lot, they grow so much faster than like an LA comic who gets like 2 minutes and you have to pay to do it kind of thing. So I want to find roots here until like I can make comedy my like professional job. But otherwise it's like the growth is here. I'm comfortable here. It's really nice.
What's your worst comedy horror story?
I would say it was my first show back after COVID. It was the first time I was asked to feature, and I was supposed to do 12 minutes. And I decided, instead of preparing, to get super drunk and just invite all my friends, because I was like, we can go outside again. And instead of doing my 12 minutes, I did a solid 5. And the poor host was like trying to eat a burrito in the backseat of his car while I was up. So he just heard me say like, that's all I have for you guys tonight. And he comes running with like beans and like rice trickling down on his shirt, out of breath. It was so sad. I felt so bad, but and I wanted to quit, but then I was like, I mean, I can't do worse than that. I can't do worse than bean burrito.
What's the longest you've done so far?
30 minutes.
And how many times have you done it?
Once.
How was it?
It was really fun.
Nice.
It was nice to be able to take my time, and I knew that I had like 20 minutes of new material, so being able to like revisit old stuff that I had dropped, but like I could come back with a fresh mind was really fun. So yeah, I had a solid 30 minutes, and I was very proud of that.
Okay. So Friday, you producing a show. How many times do you produce this show a month? Once, twice?
That's once a month.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the third Friday of every month.
And what are your expectations this Friday?
My expectations are honestly, so it's a very small town, but because it's a small town, there's nothing to do there. And the people that come to see the show are like so hungry for comedy. They are so hungry for people to make them laugh. The audience is very receptive. It's a fun bar.
Are you going to be running new material?
Yeah, I'm gonna be running new material.
Very cool. Yeah, well,
give them something new. I'm there every month. I can't be going up there all the time.
Fair. Well, that's good. I mean, that keeps you sharp. The fact that you're doing the same audience that many times.
That's
I like
what I love
that.
about hosting is being able to always, it's like a constant exercise
It is.
Of training yourself to like say new stuff, test out new stuff, rework stuff. So.
And a lot of people basically refuse to do it.
Yeah, a lot of people hate doing new material, but I mean, that's how you grow.
What would you say to people that they wouldn't guess about like SLO and the comedy scene? What's unique?
What's unique about it? I would say what's unique about it is, first of all, it's a college town, so it's a very diverse group of people, and they are all coming up on stage trying to tell their stories, so I think it makes us really unique. It also, because you are guaranteed stage time at an open mic, people get very good at joke writing very, very quickly. You can tell right away, sometimes within like the first month, how successful someone's going to be doing stand-up. So it's kind of like a little gold mine of growth in this area.
Have any like high school bullies you want to insult?
No, I'm not gonna lie. I was a little rude in high school. I think I might have been the bully.
Do you have anyone you want to apologize to?
Yeah, always and forever. I apologize to her in the yearbook, but like saying have a great summer isn't really the same. But I'm sorry to Crystal. Don't remember her last name because that was a long time ago. But yeah.
Thank you very much. We'll see you Friday.
Thank you.
Later. Have you seen like an American car show like this?
No, I'm impressed that people brought chairs. This is the most American thing.
This is like we do a lot of July 4th.
And I'm pretty sure they all brought little tiny fridges with beer.
Coolers.
Fun for the whole family.
What about that truck? What do you think?
I want one.
Alright. Let's make sure jalopy isn't about to flat guy.
And you're recording it?
We have a special guest dropping in all the way from New York. Everyone give it up for Dennis and Sleeper.
You're 21, you're younger, so you might not, you're in a new world of internet pornography. This is good to talk about while your mom's here. I'm 30, so back in the day, pornographies had to have real names. It was more interesting. They didn't name them after like movies and stuff. It was like Pirates of Ass Caribbean. It was like, you know, Assic Park. It was mostly just using the word ass in place of nouns. And I recently remembered the first porn that I'd ever seen. It was called Weapons of Ass Destruction. 7. It was right when we invaded Iraq, so it was actually, the name was on point for the time period.
I'm not a conspiracy theory. Does anybody in here fuck with conspiracy theories? Yeah. Anybody in here to do with it? We got one other. Yeah, the guy with the biggest beard. That makes sense. Looks like he's got a conspiracy underneath that beard. It's no chits.
Ernest Romero is a producer of You Had to Be There comedy, running shows throughout the Central Coast. In addition to running the popular Cider Mic at Slow Cider, Ernest runs a show at an undisclosed location to a large and loyal audience hungry for a real club. Cities like San Luis Obispo would normally struggle to bring in real headliners, lacking a definitive club. But located between Los Angeles and San Francisco, it's able to bring in bigger names it normally wouldn't as comics tour along the West Coast.
Y'all ready? Y'all excited? Let's fucking do it. Look, he's making his way by way of New York City, but he is now on tour for the rest of his life. He is doing a documentary series called Insert Town Here. Please keep it going for the very funny Dennison Sleeper. Let him hear it. Come on.
This is great. How y'all doing? You will never guess this by looking at me. I'm actually from the Congo. I didn't know I should start telling everybody that. That's very funny. That's called a callback. We're doing good. Okay. Fuck, marry, kill. Kim Jong-un, Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin. Sean?
God, yeah. What? Why me first? Oh, shit.
Because you have the mustache of somebody who works for Vice.
I would kill Kim Jong-un.
and I would fuck Putin. Because damn, dude, you seen him without that shirt, dude? Like,
Oh shit, that's
like,
right.
Damn.
On the horse. That's fair.
I think my only concern at this point is with this mustache, how many people does he have tied to a railroad track? That is my concern.
That's my
And
shot.
I think that we need to get people on this case. That's all I ask.
I'll start with my opinion because we met while I was touring, and I did my first 2 months of comedy outside of the city, and it's fascinating doing comedy in small towns. There's so many less opportunities. There's often less competition, and the level of talent wildly varies. I'll say of the open mics we did in San Luis Obispo, we did several. They were incredibly well produced. The comedians were all really, really good. Comics that were very amateur and new were doing better than many comics I know in New York who get random bar shows. I was pretty interested. All the comics we had on the documentary were really talented. Kelsey, Nick, and Ernest, I know that they're going to continue to have successful careers. And Matt Salud, I think that was his last name. Shout out to you and a few of the other comics. Not to disrespect you, I didn't write everyone's names down, but you're all very good. And then everyone who performed at Sneaky Pete's, Catch 'em Out of the City, were very good. So overall, I certainly didn't feel like a big fish in a small pond. I thought everyone was very talented. Thank you for having us.
It definitely made me laugh. I laugh all the time. I think from a non-comedian standpoint, it's very hard to make me laugh because people from Ukraine never laugh. We just hardly smile. But San Luis Obispo, I enjoyed it. I think the comedy scene was sweet and it was supportive. I did enjoy the fact that during the stand-up, people still communicate with each other because they do know each other. So it doesn't feel like what you would describe sometimes as a competitive environment. It felt like a very supportive and kind environment, which I enjoyed.
Open mics in New York City are almost entirely different than any other city, I guess, other than Los Angeles. Maybe Austin. Omri, No Sleep Tour, friend, has done Austin. I haven't yet. We will be in a couple months. But open mics in New York City are primarily just comedians performing in front of other comedians. You can have 30 people in there and no audience, and it's iron sharpens iron. Most of us are doing 6 open mics a week, maybe more, plus shows. A lot of those shows can have almost no audience. So you're used to performing to almost nothing. You're used to being in front of a group of people that don't want to laugh, that just want to do their set, get out of there and go to another one. It's also New York, so life in general is extremely stressful, as is travel. When you do open mics in other cities, like when our tour had started, before I met you and we went to Montana, in Bozeman, their open mic had like 30 audience because there just wasn't a lot of comedy. Mm-hmm. And when we did the Slow Cider mic, which was really cool, Pete Eyre and Ernest Romero who run that, you can see them both on different podcast episodes. They put on a good one, there's audience, and they had a blast. So, yeah, I thought it's tough to... I can see how tough it would be to produce in a small town or city. And the reason I was bringing that up after you said that is sometimes it seems like lost time. Mm-hmm. When, especially if you're in a place like New York, it would be a criticism me and some other comics had, is people would go up there and then basically just riff with their friends. And that's fine if you're like a hobbyist. There's no issues with that. I mean, I'm not a national headliner. I'm still working. So if that's how you want to spend your time, but you're spending money to do an open mic, usually $5 to $7 plus maybe a drink. You went out of your way to do it. You only have 5, maybe 6 minutes, and you spend 2 of it riffing with a buddy.
Yeah.
If you're actually trying to be on stage, work on your stage material. And part of starting off in comedy is you don't have audiences. I've performed in front of rooms as big as 200. I've performed in front of rooms with 3 people in the audience. And it's easier to perform in 200 people because they're gonna laugh. You're in a real club. So I know comics get really thrown off when they have no audience and they fall back on comfort, which is talking to people they know or making fun of the audience or making fun of the room. You can't do that if you want to actually be a comic. I'm saying this as somebody who's not a well-paid comedian, so I might scrub some of that. But yeah, it was good. Everyone was friends. Everyone was super supportive. It was a very calm, kind environment. Minus one guy. All right, everybody. So we just had to bleep all of that stuff out because Lisa cannot stop her rants about the countries of. Yeah. But thank you so much, everyone at San Luis Obispo. Thank you for watching. We're in Charlotte right now. We've got an episode coming up. Then we're in Asheville. Then we're in Tennessee. We're going to be in Utah. We might be in New Orleans. We've got a lot of good content coming up, a lot of good comedians coming up, and I'll be performing and getting better, even though that's very hard to do. Lisa?
I'll be continuing to take my photos.
They're very good.
And to videotape all of your jokes and all of the other people's jokes. And especially the faces of the crowd who are not laughing. That's a big joy of mine during the stand-ups. And I mostly do it from the judgmental point of view because I mostly think that a lot of things are funny.
There's nothing
it's easy to make me laugh.
There's nothing I love more than reviewing the footage she shot of me and then seeing just all clips of nobody laughing. It's the camera doing this
it's
while
only
I'm on
me
stage,
laughing.
and then I hear her laugh, and then it pans to the crowd, and then somebody's playing with their phone. So that's been a good ego check for me.
That's what I'm here for.
Insert town here, San Luis Obispo.
Hey.